Good afternoon. Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast here on FTSN. I'm Bobby Melendez, joined by my tag team partner, Josh Kimmel. Josh, it's been a little bit. How you doing, brother?
And we are doing good on this fine Saturday. Here to talk strictly women's wrestling and will it work or could it work in 2025? And I think we're going to have an interesting conversation. I prepared to have not hate, I would say anger with some of my comments I'm going to make tonight, but it's okay because I do like women's wrestling and we're going to talk about how this could work and how it should work if it ever happened. So I'm excited for this, Bobby.
Yeah, so why we're discussing this. First off, I think it's been a common theme, especially recently with women's wrestling, I guess modern history, kind of recently, that, women's wrestling's been coming on strong. It's, it's caught a lot of eyes. There's been a lot of talk that they're not getting enough of a stage to show their talents. Evolution 2 was the fourth show that weekend, last weekend with with NXT and All In, and of course, the heck am I missing? What's the name of that one that just happened for WWE with
Bash,
not the American Bash, WWE's
Saturday Main Event.
yeah, the Saturday Main Event. It wasn't a pay per view, and Goldberg's a whole other beast, but it was a fourth show on that weekend, and quite possibly stole the show that weekend. I turned it on, and it was a hard show to walk away from. It was hard to stop because it was entertaining throughout. The matches were great. The presentation was awesome. You knew they came. I mean, Trish Stratus looked like she can go a whole other run. She had a phenomenal match with Stratton. It was a lot of fun to see that show. Before we get into, first off, the success of that show and why we're talking about this now, what did you think of Evolution?
It was fine. I mean, it was people are again, I think I'm gonna get some anger towards me. And I'm not trying to be that person tonight. I'm really not. But I think people are overblowing it because of what it meant. Like, oh, women's wrestling could do an entire PLE, which they can. They did. It was a great show, but I think it was overblown. I think it was a fine show. I don't think it was anything special. It was fine. If it didn't have the cash in, we'd be looking at a C plus show, in my opinion. I think the cash in, the excitement, the oh wow, I'll remember this forever. It's part of the show. That's what people care about, the beginnings and endings of shows. Whatever happens in the middle happens. It opened with a banger with the triple threat match, which I thought was my favorite part of the show. It was my favorite part of the match or of the entire pay per view weekend. Actually, I know the Mercedes match was more fun for me, but the triple threat match was amazing, and the way it ended with Naomi. So great moments to start and to end, and a whole lot of, to me, take it or leave it in the middle, and that's just the way it is for me. But I enjoyed it. It was a good show. B plus show.
B plus show. Um, Without the cash in, it's a C plus show.
Yeah, I would give it a full letter grade because of the cash in. I do.
Okay.
The
All right.
cash in was great. Like it was one of the greatest moments, but because everyone expected Naomi to lose because they kept on bringing it up. No woman has ever lost when she cashed. So we all expected Naomi to be the one to finally lose. And the way she cashed in on someone we didn't expect to totally change brands, that was exciting because it did two things. Got us more storylines and more because I said this on Thursday night with the guys on Real Talk Wrestling on Finn's Talk Extra. Losing Seth was a massive deal, but nobody's talking about the impact of losing Liv. She was the top heel not only on Raw, she was the top female heel in the company by far. And Raw needed a top female heel. So that solved the problem with Naomi. She's a top heel right now. She's given the ball. They're like going, hey, we lost our girl, we lost our star, we lost our Tyreek. Now Jalen Waddle, you need to step up and be the number one. Like that's what it is. Like you need to be. Can Naomi do it and take it and run? And two, it protected Io Sky and Rhea. Now we can go longer with the story of can Rhea ever beat Io because she still hasn't. So that story's still there in the back pockets of the WWE. So I like the end of the match. I love the end of the pay per view, but everything else in the middle to me, Bobby, was kind of boring. Sorry.
That's okay. Hey, everyone has a right to their opinion. I do disagree. I think it's it. I was I don't want to say I was surprised. I guess pleasantly surprised because again, you look at the card and yeah, we talked about it. The Bailey, Becky, Valkyria match. We knew that was going to be a great match. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky. We knew those what they can do. And I mean, my goodness, they freaking killed it. And but you look at everything else, like even the Stratus and Stratton match. You kind of go, all right, there might be a chance where I get to walk away, and and man, is it going to be weird not seeing the guys on the show? You don't have that element in there, and no, it was an easy show to watch. It was a great show to watch. Stratton and Stratus especially put on a match that was, I mean, again, we joke. I mean, you joke kind of, not really, she ages like fine wine, but also so does her ring skills. I mean, it's crazy to think that she is not even a part-timer. She's a seasonal employee, and she puts on a match like that, and they're like, where is she? Why is she not doing this more often? I mean, she deserves all the flowers that she can get. Uh Jade and Naomi was not bad. That was an entertaining match. Uh the not six man, was it Fatal 4-Way tag team match with Raquel and Roxanne. Charlotte and Alexa let me tell you, love what I'm seeing with Charlotte. She's over with the crowd right now. This tag team is working. Maybe it is what she wrote in The Athletic. Maybe you got to see the real version of her, the raw version of her, no pun intended. And people are coming around on that. And you see she's authentically happy. And she's having this awesome, like they're saying that maybe there's going to be an Alexa versus Charlotte at SummerSlam. I hope there's not. Don't rush that. It's keep that going. It's perfect. Let it ride out. It was a great show. So much so it's like, man, I want to see more of these girls. I want to see more of this. And Sal Roca from NXT. I think she's the North American. I'm probably butchering her name.
You are.
What is it?
Sol Ruka.
Ruka. Okay, Ruka. Anyway, she's freaking awesome. She's fun. She kind of reminds me a little bit of a Charlotte, with her athletic skills. And, I want to see more of her as a character. That's something I may have to just watch more NXT on, but it was fun to watch. Yeah, I would give it an A. I thought they did a great job. And I get your point that, maybe because it was just an all woman show and that's why people are kind of overhyping, overblowing the result of the show. But I think that they showed they could hang. They could put an all woman show and people are going to care and people are going to scream. I mean, Naomi, first of all, killer match in main event with Rhea and Io. For Naomi to come out and to do that and to pull that out and to win after what she was able to do. Remember, she was respectfully was a footnote. You remember you talked about it, man. She was doing great in TNA. Now she's back in WWE, and look what she is. She's mid card. She's this, and all of a sudden she takes this heel role, and she made it her own and rode the train all the way to the station. So much so they could not ignore her, and she's the new women's champion, the world's champion, and a damn good one. And I mean, very early on. And that's my point when people say, oh, this person deserves an opportunity. This one deserves a shot. Oh, so-and-so. Or this person just became champion. Blah, blah. It's what you do with your opportunities. Valkyria showed that. Valkyria is hard to ignore. It's supposed to be Bailey versus Becky at SummerSlam, but it more likely to be Valkyria versus Becky. Can't ignore Valkyria. What she's been able to do, what she's been able to do has been, second to none. And Naomi has just been skyrocketing. So awesome. It was an awesome show. And, when I saw that people kind of bring that up, obviously, oh, should it be an annual thing? And Triple H is like, well, does it really need to be an annual thing? I can understand both sides of that argument. I think it should. I think it's good. I think it gives people who are, wrestlers who would not be given that opportunity. It gives them an opportunity to be on the show. It also gives people a chance, gives the women wrestlers an opportunity to showcase their skills, because usually a lot of these women are not on the top of the card. A lot of them are kind of fanning out, even the top ones. Even the most popular ones are kind of in the mid and hiding. So yeah, it should be an annual show. And yes, I think people should entertain an idea of a brand show, and we're going to talk about that.
I don't think it should be an annual show. I think it should remain special. But here's how I would do it. I've been saying it on this channel. Anywhere, if you've spoken with me in real life on this channel, on YouTube, anywhere, on social media when I used to do that, I think that if you want to give the women more spotlight during major shows, major exposure, we need to split up these huge PLEs. As in, I brought this up: Royal Rumble. One year the men has it, then next year the women have it. Money in the Bank, the alternating years. If the men have the Rumble, the women get the Money in the Bank. Because then it'll make that women's Money in the Bank match that much more special. And it will make that men's Money in the Bank match next year that much more special because they only get it every other year, alternated it. So if you want to make these women feel bigger on these bigger shows, and not add, extra PLEs, and because let's face it, it's great and all, but what they did this weekend, what all wrestling did this weekend was a nightmare for us wrestling fans because they forget we have real lives. Remember, I had a Scott Fishbowl draft to do that day. I'm not reading the comments yet. I'm sure you're laughing about
No, no, I'm
something.
laughing at what you said. I think it's like it wasn't fair. Too much going on.
It wasn't though, because like
Gotcha.
we have lives, we have families. I wanted to watch All In. I wanted to watch Evolution. I wanted to watch Saturday Night Main Event. Hell, I even wanted to watch some ROH matches. I wanted to watch the NXT stuff, but it's too much. It's too much. It's too much, and it was too much. So I picked and chose what I watched this weekend. Some things didn't get watched, and some things did. And to throw the women, if you want to spotlight them into such a crowded weekend, yes, it looked good that they stole the show and people loved it. Everyone loved, there was all these high expectations and they met them all. But man, what a burnout for us.
Mm.
That's what I felt like Sunday. I felt like I was burnt out because of me fantasy football drafting, on top of balancing my kids, on top of trying to figure out who won this match and that match and this storyline and that storyline. And guys, we need to spread it out, WWE. And I know it's you counter programming AEW. Ridiculous. It really is. I hate it. But that's not the
So
topic tonight. The topic is women's wrestling.
yeah. So no, and one thing I will say that I saw in the comments about obviously WWE did not do Evolution any favors with the promotion of the show. That's why another reason to give it an A, that they weren't given the spotlight. It wasn't, they didn't give them a lot of airtime. It didn't promote it as well. But for people who did tune in, I mean, you got yourself a show, and I know there's a lot of people who are tuning in to watch this PLE and coming away going, holy crap, we missed this. And like you said, you're right. There was a lot of, it shouldn't be 4 shows in a weekend. I understand, they're like, hey, what can we do to, counter program All In and whatever. You had one already. You had Saturday Night Main Event. Just roll with it. Who gives a crap, but Evolution should have been on its own weekend. Let everybody, support each other and ride out and give them all the promotion you could give. And next time you do an Evolution, whether it's an annual thing or a biannual thing or whatever, give them their own weekend and promote the hell out of it. Make it a bigger deal than what it is, because these ladies deserve it 1000%. I want to see here. First off, Maria, great to see you. Hannah, good to see you. Zach, Mara, Justin, as always, host of the Ruckus Wrestling Podcast. Great to see you, brother. Adrian, congratulations on your new wrestling podcast. Was on earlier today. Too Raw for SmackDown. You guys got to go check that out on the Rainy Day Pod. Adrian, man, it was fun to watch. They were talking about women wrestling, so it's funny that it's like, oh crap, hey, you guys, just letting you know. Let me see here. Saw something here. Charlotte is trash. I thought I saw from Amara. Amara, first off, thank you for watching or taking some time. She's not trash. She's one of the greats. Let's be real here. Gia, what's up, Gia? I miss Liv. Her acting and storycraft is sensational. Only clock it when she was out. Yeah, no, Liv Morgan is absolutely missed and would have been great on that show. And her story's going to be big. It's just the same thing with like Seth Rollins. Seth goes out and, when he comes back, he'll be thrown right back in there. But Liv is for sure missed. But let's talk about this, man, because first off, let's just say, okay, let's say for reasons being WWE says, you know what, watching all the reviews and the hype and what these women were able to do, there's I think, I don't know if it's still around. They did a Netflix series on it. I know it's been around recently. I don't know if it's still around now, but wow, Women of Wrestling, it's like it's a minor league type of thing. Um, I'll say WWE has the talent. They have enough talent and they can find enough talent to support a women's brand. The problem is, or the question is, will it work? And can it get done? So, Josh, you're the booker. Let's say I'm giving you this role. Well, first off, just to ask, would it work? Could you see somehow, some way, if WWE was to say, because yeah, they got those little minor promotional things. I know Adrian brought that up earlier, LFG and those other, but nobody really pays too attention. But the three main brands are all SmackDown, NXT. This is like in sense with NXT. That's how I kind of see it. Or you could erase NXT and put this here, whatever. But I would just say this is separate from NXT, but in the same kind of field of it. Could
No.
something like that work in your eyes?
Okay.
Before we book it.
So the plain and simple answer is no. It would not work. It wouldn't work. I don't think it would work. Now, does that stop it from putting it on television weekly? Hell, AEW got a spot weekly on USA or TNT, I'm sorry, on TNT and then TBS. They're not doing so well. Their ratings are trash. Their ratings are very, very bad. So I don't know what the TV market is these days, but I would do something differently because I don't think this would work on weekly television live. I would do it like they did in NXT back in the day, 1 hour, pre-taped, on the network, on the Peacock, whatever you gotta do. See if it works. And if it works, and if it is getting eyes, and it is getting views and clicks, and people are talking about it, just like NXT did, then we can move it up. But I wouldn't waste a lot of resources on this. But it's hard because you go, okay, do we take these major stars from Raw and SmackDown and just make them the focal points of this new show? As in, do we just take Bianca Belair and say, hey, everyone that watches Raw and SmackDown, if you want to see Bianca Belair, you got to watch our new show on Peacock. That's going to be a problem. That's a paywall. People don't. Not everybody has Peacock.
Not everybody has Netflix.
Not everyone has Netflix. So that's what you would have to do, though, because you're not going to be able to pull this off without superstars. So I did make a list. I went through the entire WWE roster today, and I made a list of main eventers, mid-carders, jobbers, and managers I would have on my show. And I only came up with 28 women. Not everyone made the cut. I don't know if you want me to reveal that list yet or
Well,
not.
let me just say, so how I did mine, okay? And so kind of I looked at obviously like in my concept, WWE Raw, SmackDown, NXT is still there, still around. Maria, I'm with you. I think I'm with you 100%, a weekly, bi-weekly show. And I love what Josh said, because that's the selling point. It wouldn't work. Actually, that's the selling point, I think. What Josh did, maybe on mistake, was, hey, if you want Bianca's, I think Bianca would be, because Rhea Ripley wouldn't go to the all-women's brand. She'd be on Raw. She's of Raw. She's one of the top superstars. She stays on Raw. Bianca Belair stays on SmackDown. Like, that's a different beast. But yeah, if you think about that, like, oh, you want to see Bianca Belair? You got to tune in to all women's wrestling on NBC or the Peacock, because there are people who would want to see them. There are people who are diehard fans that would do that. So I think that is the selling point, because if they did that for CM Punk and Roman Reigns, they're no longer on Raw and SmackDown. They're on All Men's Wrestling on Peacock. Guess what? Subscribe. People are gonna want to see that. So with that point is so valid. Yet that's going to be the selling point. It's like, hey, yeah, you get to see Rhea on Raw. You get to see Bianca on SmackDown, but if you want to see Asuka or Becky Lynch or whomever, they're going to be on All Women's Wrestling on Wednesday nights or something. It's like, oh crap, okay, that could be the selling point. The truth of it, great to see you. So how I did it, just want to make sure. Yeah, Charlotte is one of the greatest wrestlers. The reason she's hated is because the way WWE booked her. Fair enough. The way I did it was I looked at all the WWE rosters for the three brands and looked at the recently released stars. And so what I did was like, okay, like got a few women from Raw, a few women from SmackDown, the kind of the big, try to ones that are kind of lost in the shuffle. Okay. Wrestling. Not, no one's gonna say on the Peacock. Okay, let's just be on Peacock. You're not on the Peacock. Maybe you would, Adrian. No, but I try to look at stars who were, stars that are going to draw people in, yet at the same time, and could carry a show on story wise in the ring. Kind of think of that way, but also not ones who are kind of lost in the shuffle on the other brands. Rhea, people like Rhea, Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, Bailey. Those ones, they stay in their brands because on Raw and SmackDown, because they have a spot there, and they're featured. I was thinking about, like, hey, who could we, like, I'm not saying only have mid card to low card stars, not saying that. There are some ones that I'm going to pull top people, but ones who are getting lost in the shuffle, or who and could be main attractions on the main brand. I did that. I did up to 20. That's where I stayed about 20, because you could still add some people in, and probably nobody's. And then I did kind of commentators, ring announcer, and GM. That's how I did it.
Okay, didn't even think about the commentators or GMs
So that's
because
fine. You probably would agree. I mean, unless you have another name in regards of
I
commentators,
would
but I
I
think
would I would leave the commentators to the men. Honestly, I would. Michael Cole, Wade Barrett, just because they're so good at it. They put in. I'm not saying women can't do it, but we haven't seen women do it, so therefore it's hard for me to say, oh, I think she'd be good at it. No, I haven't seen anyone do it, so that's why I didn't do that. GM, I could have that. I mean, I could put one of my 28 women as a GM because I have a couple of my. I thought about that, but I left them as managers.
so.
But
When you did your list, did you go like top star and move your way down to low star, or did you just write them all out?
no, so I was going down the roster and I had the topics on my notepad right here. Main
Okay.
eventers, mid Carter, jobber, and I placed them where I thought they should go. And I did everyone because the way I did it, because guys, the way this Bobby, I don't know if Bobby said this at the front of the show. When I play WWE 2K, when I do my universe mode, this is the first thing I did was I did everything. I deleted the bloodline, any kind of factions were just deleted. I went totally custom, and I made an all women show from the get go. And I have like stables like Jade and Jada Parker and Bianca. Like I have like my own books. So this was pretty easy for me to put together. So I don't have these women because if you keep Bailey in my mind, and this is, you could run the roster the way you want. You say, oh, I'm going to keep Bailey and Becky on Raw. They have a spot. Well, you're taking women away from Raw. So therefore, they're just going to wrestle each other every week. If this is going to work, we need all hands on deck. We need every single superstar there is. Now you can go and cross promote your shows. Now on Raw, we have Becky coming out doing a promo on Thursday night on Peacock, whatever our women's show is called. I'm gonna beat Bailey's ass, whatever you want to say. You can cross promote. They do that. That's wrestling. You can do that. But they're mainly those stars of the wrestling show. No women's gonna wrestle on Raw or SmackDown in my world, because I can't do it. There's not enough women.
Uh,
You would take women away on this show, and then you
no.
wouldn't leave enough women on Raw or SmackDown. You wouldn't.
No, there's enough
There's
women
not.
wrestlers out there that you could fill up. Again, there's only 17 on Raw and SmackDown each. 17 wrestlers here, 17 wrestlers there, 20 some odd wrestlers on NXT. You take 4 or 3 out of each brand, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to. And guess what? A lot of the time, they're all wrestling each other every week anyway. And then as one crew climbs up NXT, you throw one here, I think it could work.
All right.
Because then guess what? Raw and SmackDown are now all men brands. That doesn't work.
Why wouldn't it work?
It wouldn't work.
Why not?
Just wouldn't. Doesn't make any sense. It can. I mean, but this is your promotion. So, all right. So you have Rhea Ripley on the All Women Wrestling, right? What do you
Oh,
got?
yeah. I'll give you my main eventers if you want.
Sure.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 women in my main event scene, and they read as this: Stephanie Vaquer, pretty easy, right? She's a main eventer in my eyes. Blake Monroe, we're wasting our time in NXT in real life. She's a main eventer in my world. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, Bailey, Bianca Belair, and Asuka. It's pretty textbook, people. Did I leave anyone out in your eyes? Like off the top, like, whoa, she's gone. Pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty simple. I think you're on the money with Blake. I wish we would got to see her. I think she hasn't yet. I think she wrestles for the first time. She's having her first singles live TV match soon. But I do like that they've turned her heel pretty quick, and she's going to be going against Jordan Grace. But I think she should have been a part of that card on Evolution. That's one thing I did miss. And I wish the turn was a little rougher.
I wish the turn was, how can I say it, more convincing?
Yeah.
More to the point.
Yeah.
More Blake. More. I wish it was more. Oh my goodness! I already forgot her name in AEW. Oh my goodness, what was her name in AEW?
Mariah May?
Oh my God, Mariah. I wish it was more Mariah May and less
Yeah.
Blake Monroe.
Yeah. I agree. But I'm with you. She absolutely, and again, I'm going to tell you, how much I think of her in regards of a star and everything else. And she was left off my list because I think she's have a place, obviously, in NXT, and eventually will have a place on Raw or SmackDown eventually down the line. So I was like, okay, that's one that they're going to keep that star power on the main brand, and then the all women's brand will be so. But cool, I'm with you. I'm with you for the first ones. Go ahead.
All right, so my mid carders. Now I might be. Oh, by the way, I did highlight. I have 2 titles. I didn't say that. I have 2 titles. I have a world champion and mid card title. Whatever you want to call the mid card title, call it whatever you want. World title, mid carder. Liv Morgan is my champion. Mid card. I have Jordan Grace, Io Sky, Charlotte Flair, Chelsea Green, Naomi, Solruka, Julia, Roxanne Perez, Jade Cargill, and Nikita Lyons.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these are all workers. These are all girls that can go. They have the ability. They have the look. Jordan Grace, Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill. They got the look, right? Then you have the wrestling chops in Chelsea Green, Io Sky. I feel like that's the workhorse mentality. So did I leave anyone off? Like, is there any big names you're like, oh, where's she at?
No, man. No, I think I like it. I like that you included Nikita in there. I think you're right on so far, especially with the way you're doing it, the concept. Oh, look, Maria says Liv over Stephanie V. Really? You have Stephanie on as a main eventer?
She's a main eventer, but Liv's my champion. I
like. You mean as a champion? Okay, my bad.
Yeah, Liv's my champion, okay. And as my mid card champion, I put Charlotte Flair just to make you happy. Aww. I feel like she's a great worker, and she could hold a mid card title and do some good work. Yeah. And my jobbers, the girls that will be pinned but also look good while doing it. You know, like everyone needs jobbers, right? Alexa Bliss. She's too small to be competitive in my eyes. Raquel Rodriguez, she just doesn't have it to me. But she's big enough to look imposing. Ivy Nile, she can go, but she's not a top star. Jada Parker, I like what she does. Lola Vice, Lyra, Valkyria, she would be a great jobber. A great, put someone over, but never really make it to the top. Nia Jax, and I'm going to round it up with my managers, Zelina Vega and Scarlett.
Wow.
That's my roster.
Okay. All right. I will say, and it's just to defend Liv Morgan as a champion over Stephanie V. First off, again, love Stephanie Vicker. But why I would do it, I think especially starting a show off, you want a heel champion. And I think Liv is the best heel and could be the best heel. And imagine Stephanie chasing her and all, everyone else. I think it would be a smarter thing to roll with Liv and then Stephanie eventually getting it down the line. So the way I thought of this show, I kind of let the cat out of the bag for me was, and I think you kind of said it would be like an hour and a half show. This is not a 2-hour show. This is a presentation. Like, yeah, you still want some promos. You want, some in-ring action. You want to highlight the ladies' in-ring skills, but short, sweet, to the point, and get out. So I thought like, okay, 20 total. I was thinking between 17 to 20 because 17 is what Raw and SmackDown have. But 20 total. You could add a couple here and there later down the line. I will say for commentators, maybe one guy, but I've heard Beth Phoenix on commentary. She's done great. Lita on commentary, I've heard done great. So those are the two that I'm going to go with as the commentators. Lillian Garcia is your ring announcer. Easy enough, right? You let her do it. And then Stephanie McMahon is the GM. I'm not putting Vicky Guerrero. I'm not thinking any of them. Going Stephanie McMahon because
I was thinking Ava.
No, not Ava. No. Because I thought like Stephanie McMahon was going to be a commentator in my mind. I was like, oh, maybe she'll be. But then I was like, Wouldn't that be dumb if there's a GM up there and Stephanie McMahon, the boss's wife, is sitting there in the bay and she's like, "Oh no, they made this match. How dare he use that power? How dare she?" He's like, "No, dude, Stephanie McMahon's the GM. That just, it works." And but yeah, Lita and Beth Phoenix are my commentators. Lillian is my ring announcer, and you got Stephanie McMahon. Now, I think the way you did it was great. I wish I would have thought of that, because then I would have labeled it as much. But all I thought of, I was trying to think of names, and I started looking. And I was like, okay, this would be good. So the names you don't hear are because they're staying exactly where they are, and they could grow organically and move the hell on. But these are names that I've said, okay, I think you could steal them from a show or from those shows, and you could have yourself a decent enough hour and a half show or hour show for all women wrestling on Wednesday nights somewhere, or Thursday nights. So Charlotte Flair, easy, right? Charlotte Flair, I have her there. I love what she's doing right now at SmackDown. It's hard to think like, oh, you take that away. But I think bringing her on, you got yourself, obviously you're going to have a 5-star match. You could pair her with anybody. She could play the ultimate heel, or she could kind of continue with her role. Obviously, big name, you're rolling with that. Asuka, again, Asuka is someone where everybody goes, man, she doesn't get enough opportunities. I hate how she's used. I wish she had this. Well, we fixed that. She's on the all women wrestling show, and she could put bangers, and you could keep her in the top spot and have fun with that. Alexa Bliss, another one. Nikki Bella, she says she's around long term. She doesn't really have a spot on Raw or SmackDown Raw, really, even though she's involved in there. She was supposed to have a feud with Liv, didn't work out. So if she's going to be around, let's bring her to all women wrestling. Now you got a couple legends in there now, right? Quote unquote legends. All right. Kairi Sane. That's another one who kind of got lost in the shuffle. Bring her in. Think that would be great. Nia, you had her there as well. I got Nia in there. I was that close, Maria, to add Trish. But Trish is a seasonal employee, where Nikki, and I mean that with all the love and respect, there's no way I'm putting Vicky Guerrero as GM. I don't want nothing to do with Vicky Guerrero and anything.
Excuse me?
Yeah, no way. No chance in hell. No pun intended. But Trish, I would, of course, but I think she's more like, you have her for the first 5 shows until, like, if you want to do a PLE with them, then she goes off into the sunset and comes back maybe at the end of the year. Nia Jax, she's one. Natalya. I think Natalia's obviously gotten lost. I love what she's been doing on the indie scene. Well, she's kind of, with this whole Fight Club thing she got going on. I would love to bring that to WWE. That would be the character I would roll with in this all women's wrestling. Make her dangerous. She's a heart, and her attitude, everything she's doing over there is awesome. So I hope that would be the one. You call this like a jobber, with all respect. Selena Vega. That would be someone who I'd bring over. I think obviously you could expand her. No, she does not get the flowers that she deserves. Lash Legend would be someone. Lola Vice, Minchin, Ivy Neal, Nikita Lyons, Chelsea Green. Obviously, that run with the United States Champion, she was really high. Now she's kind of fanned out a little bit. She's become kind of that comedy piece, which is great. I mean, she's great at it. She loves it. She's awesome at it. But I think if you were to put her in an all-women's brand, she could be in that mid to top tier conversation with one of the top heels in the brand. And then you go into the free agents, because you don't want to take too much from your other brands. And, there's a lot of free agents that just got released from WWE that would be great to bring on back. Shotzi, Gigi Dolan, Kaden Carter, Katina Chance, Cora Jade, and Carmella, who was off on leave and then she got fired. I think bringing her back would be great, because she could be in that top tier conversation as well, mid to top tier conversation. So if you're telling me about, if we're talking again, like how I perceived it as, is it an hour show or an hour and a half, however you want to do it, with these set of stars, these set of women wrestlers, I think it gets a decent viewing. I think people tune in. If it's on NBC and you have nothing to do on a Wednesday or Thursday night, and you want to just throw something on, I think people tune in. Let me ask, what are your thoughts on that? I'll just let you react to the roster.
So I'm not gonna trash your list, because it's fine, right? You're doing a different world than what I'm doing.
Yes.
I'm not, and I'm also not saying yours would get less viewers than mine, but it clearly would, because I have all the superstars, and it's nothing. That's just the truth. I have the superstars. You went a different direction, which I don't know if common man Josh is gonna be like, oh, let me watch Shotzi Blackheart versus Cora Jade. I don't care. And neither does anyone else. Or if they did, they would be in WWE still. So that's my problem with that list. But other than that, like I think if you built them up, that's with anything, right? If you build someone up, they're gonna succeed. If you do something well and you write someone well and you book somebody well, they'll succeed. It's the way it is. But it's gonna be tough with an all women's card. I just want all hands on deck. Every single superstar we have. Every superstar. You don't open up Raw Netflix with, Tozawa.
Well,
You open up with
that's
Dwayne
where you would
Johnson.
include a Trish Stratus, and you know, um, again, yeah, like I said, it could be weekly, it could be bi-weekly. It's an hour. It's an
And
hour
then what with
show.
and then what are they promoting? What are TV shows, right? TV shows in the way if you really break down a TV show for wrestling, all they are is a 3 hour, 2 hour, however long show commercial to buy the pay-per-view. That's how it used to be. Every week is we're presenting this. This is why you should buy the show for Sunday, but we'll give you a preview here. What are the women going to do? They can't have week or monthly PLEs. That's the problem with WWE right now. Too many shows. So like SummerSlam is 2 weeks away. There's zero build to anything. I feel like they are now AEW in their builds. The John Cena Cody Rhodes feud got going last night, right? They're relying on history. They're relying on us to remember what happened at WrestleMania. They're relying on us to remember that build. Then they have their contract signing, and it's like, oh, SummerSlam's in literally 2 weeks. I know 2 matches booked. I think I know 2 matches. I'm sure there's more. But if you have another women's show weekly, that means you're gonna have to have another PLE monthly, and then overload, man, overload.
I don't know if again, if it's an hour show, I don't really know if you really need a PLE every month.
No, no, we don't. You don't need it.
Or
You're gonna want it because of the advertisers, and it'd be better to do quarterly, like NXT did with the takeovers. Whenever
yeah,
WrestleMania was there,
yes,
we have a
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that could work. And Maria, I was very close to putting Dakota on there, and Shayna Baszler's a great one. I know she did something as a producer for Evolution, but that's another name you could throw in there. And I know like you said, the average Joe or the average Josh Kimmel, right? You see Cora Jade versus, Kaden Carter or whomever, right? Or Gigi Dolan, whatever. Shotzi you brought up, who's really going to watch? Who's going to want to watch that? But that's the point. Those girls wouldn't have an opportunity on Raw or SmackDown. They didn't. That's why they got cut. They didn't have time to be shown. This would give them the opportunity to be shown. And there would be fans who are like, man, I always knew Cora Jade was good. I'm going to go watch her match. And it's up to her to show up and show out. When you get those opportunities, show up and show out. This would
Can I
open
ask
that.
Can I ask you where's our truth right now? Where's Ron Killings?
Yeah.
Where is he?
Hmm?
We wanted him. Where is he? I don't see him on TV anymore. We want women's wrestling, but when we get it, will we appreciate it? That's the problem. John Cena's whole heel run has been mainly about what I just described, and
The
it's so
ultimate baby.
true. We want more women's wrestling, right? But when we get it, we won't appreciate it. We'll say this sucks. We don't want this. Watch, it's gonna happen. So that's why they'll never do it. And at the end of the day, wrestling is a traveling circus for families of all sizes. We talked about, I don't know if me and you talked, yeah, we did, the jelly roll situation. My wife just like
Mhm.
so happened to be in the room and was watching it, was entertained by it. If you take women away, and this is you're not doing this, but I did it. If you take women away from the SmackDowns and the Raws, you're taking a whole demographic away, or a possible demographic away from a weekly television show. If you have an all women's show weekly, you're taking a lot of the demographic away of like older guys who just don't care. I mean, newsflash, and I'm so sorry to break this to everybody. Women's wrestling is awesome. We love to watch it, but some of the people, I would say more than most, I'm sorry, go, oh wow, I hope she's wearing a shorter bikini this week, and we just want to watch that. That's the majority of. I'm sorry, it's just the honest truth, and you know that, Bobby, right? the 14-year-old boys aren't watching it because they love women wrestling. They want to see it because Rhea Ripley's wearing freaking basically nothing. And I'm not saying that they do that for like the views, like, oh, we like. No, what I'm saying is, will that wear off? Will we be numb to that? Will we stick around for that? Or will it be like, hey, let's look at the Raw ratings. When Becky Lynch is given a promo, do the ratings dip or do they rise? I try to look that up today. I'm not paying for a freaking Patreon for that. But I try to look it up. So if anyone has that Patreon, by the way, at Wrestling Ticks or whatever it is, let me know. Because I try to look that up. Do we know the numbers on this? I try. You have to pay. It's behind a paywall.
Yeah, I'm not paying for those numbers.
In AEW, they dip. They dip. Every women's segment dips every single week. You know, I don't know WWE's numbers because it's on Netflix. It's hard to gauge that.
Well, I know that when I know what Becky Lynch is on that mic, I know everybody's watching because I see everybody reacting to it. You know, I mean, she killed it the other night. She trolled fans with the red and yellow coming out with,
That was
you know,
great.
I thought, which
That was
is
great.
Let me tell you something.
That was great.
She said it the other day. You call me Becky Hogan. I'm not Becky Hogan. I'm Becky. And I'm like, to me, that is so awesome to do that. Like, own up to that. Troll the hell out of everybody. I thought it was great. Shout out to her. Man, to be hasn't melted. Okay.
Hey, that's pretty much almost everyone.
I will say, Maria. Shout out to Maria for bringing up Gail Kim. That would be a very good GM for all women's wrestling show. I'm with you. Maria's right on the money on that. Yeah, I'm with you, Justin. I love it. I love Becky doing that. Becky Hogan wearing the red and yellow, and you know, why the hell not? We know how we know how her husband feels. We know how she feels about that. But yeah, hell yeah, freaking own it. Let people hate on you. That's gonna bring the heat. It's good heat. Roll with it. You know, I loved it. I love when she did that. I popped and you know how I feel about all, but I popped. I was like, yes, screw the haters. Roll with it.
Do you think we'll ever truly see a WrestleMania women's main event? Now I know night
we
one.
have seen it.
Come on, I'm talking. Cody Rhodes ain't coming back to main event WrestleMania night one, right? Like it's night two. It's the main event. Did we ever see that?
Yes, we can see that.
Will we ever see it?
Depends if somebody leaves the crap show they're on and comes back to WWE.
So you think Mercedes is the one that could do it?
Yeah. If she comes back to WWE, that's going to be a massive story, and you know damn well where they're going to go with it. And once we get that fatal four-way, that's going to be your night two main event. That will be night two. Becky, Bayley, Charlotte, Mercedes Moné, or Sasha Banks, whatever the hell she goes with. That should be the main event. And people will watch, and they will put on a show, and they're going to kill it.
I like where you're going, but I don't ever see them doing it. Not in our lifetime. I can see that. Now that's the main event I would watch.
Hell yeah, you would watch.
Yeah, I would. 1000%. Those women have stories,
and I'll tell you what. Can I just say something very quick? You won't have all the run-ins. You won't have all the extra booking. Oh, let's throw this guy in there. Oh, here comes, Cardi B, who's supposed to show up sometime soon. Let's have this person show up and this one show up. You don't need that for that match. Just let them ride. Let them have a match.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The last few WrestleManias, every main event, night two, Roman versus Cody, John versus Cody. How many run-ins are we having? How many, things are we going to do? How many times are we going to have that? You put Mercedes Moné versus Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch versus Bayley. All wrestling. And damn good wrestling, and they're going to steal the show, and that's when you're going to have that conversation again. Man, should women only have a brand? Should we give an all-women's brand? Because that's how good they are. That's how good. Even so good that my youngest daughter's screaming in the background for it right now. If you guys could hear that, forgive me.
She wants women's wrestling. She wants women's wrestling. We all do. No, I just don't think we'll see it. I'm more of a pessimist, I guess you would say. In case you didn't know, in case you're new to the show, in case you're new to the channel. But we all can't be rainbows and lollipops on this show, or it'd be pretty boring. But I do mean it. I think that we want something until we have it, and when we have it, we want something else. And I think that's where we're at right now. We're on this high of they came off in a phenomenal weekend. We think this, we think that, we think this will work, we think that will work. It's like going on vacation. I go to, me and my wife will go to some little town in Tennessee. And yeah, I really think we should live here. Start looking at Zillow, start looking at houses, and we should live here. Yeah. Man, we should go. Let's go back, right? And about a month or two go by, we forget about the dream of living there. We forget about going back. It's just a memory. It was a good times. We were on the high. That's where we're at now. Oh, what a great weekend. Great women's wrestling pay-per-view. We should have a weekly show, but it'll die down. Our excitement will go away. It's just the way life works.
What part of Tennessee are you talking about? What little town in
No,
Tennessee?
I'm just making, I made
Just
that
throwing
up.
shit out there. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I
I
was
just
gonna
made
say
that up. But we
that's what my
do
wife
that
and I
stuff.
did. My wife had an interview. We came to a small town in Tennessee, fell in love with it. We're like, "What do you think?" Maybe you're like, "Well, you know." And then we stayed on the high and we moved here, and now we're here. So
You you did you
it
did
worked
what
out.
we always you did
Yeah,
what I was gonna
we
describe.
did what what most people don't. My bad, But no, man. Listen, I think I'll say this. I will say this. I get your point because it all factors in. I think that's why Triple H gave the answer he gave. Paul Levesque gave the answer he gave when they said an annual thing. He's like, do we really need that? And I think I think they've talked about it. I think they've seen that hey, they could put on a show, but maybe that just gives them a bigger show, a bigger stage on Raw and SmackDown. Maybe they gives them a better opportunity. But I think for all the reasons you stated is why WWE has not committed to every year, has not committed to entertaining a wrestling brand, because there is so much hours you could give on TV. There's all this, but again, my answer, you've answered no, and that's fair. Do I think it could work? I think yes, and obviously you don't want to overblow it. You don't want to do it, 2 hours every week. No, if you do an hour, I think it could work. You do an hour and a half or bi-weekly, it could work. That's another one, right? I mean, Britt Baker is a name who's eventually going to be a free agent soon, probably going to pop up on NXT. That's a name that you could throw in there eventually if that was a case. There's enough in the talent pool to do it. 100%. 100%. But anyway, are you guys still seeing me okay? Am I still good?
Yeah, am I frozen? I got the Wi-Fi thing. My
Yeah,
Wi-Fi thing's
I
so
got the
good.
Wi-Fi thing too. I just want to make sure I'm still good.
Okay.
So we're about the hour. I just have to ask because I know how much of a fan you are of Goldberg. So
Mhm.
I have to ask, what did you think of that main event?
We
What do you
talked
think of
about it.
did we talk about it?
We talked
I don't
about it.
remember.
Like,
Did
I
we?
told the story about how I got up and didn't care about speeches, and we agreed that
Oh,
speeches are
that's right.
pretty,
Because we did Sunday. We
yeah,
did Sunday. Okay,
we talked about it.
okay. This is where I have to go to you then. This is where I go. My mind is set. My wife gets free because I watch a show and I go, and she goes, "We watched this already." I go, "No, we didn't." Or and she's like, "Yeah," and she'll tell me a whole episode. And I'm like, "I don't remember that at all." And she gets so mad. I got smacked a couple times. She's like, "Are you stupid?" I'm like, "Oh my god." Um, I know we haven't talked about this. Did you see Goldberg or see clips of Goldberg's interview? Uh,
No, not yet.
did you hear about it at all?
I just know he's mad or he's
He's
upset.
mad. And they said, "Are you a done?" And he kind of went like this, and he, and kind of said because he didn't feel like he got the right send off.
Mhm.
Would you be interested in a Goldberg and AEW run?
No? No, why would I? Why
I
would
know.
we need that? It's
I
not
think,
it doesn't make sense. So here's the way I feel about Goldberg. We all know.
yeah,
He's a selfish person, selfish human being. It's never been about the business. It's always been about him. No matter what he says, I don't care. He went
yeah.
out fine. He went out the right way. He went out getting choked out by the world champion. You got cut off on your speech. Get over it, bro.
I will say that again. We know that match was better. It was a better match than he's put on in a while. Gunther carried him. Gunther made him look really good. I think it was the best way to come off, to send off. Goldberg was fun to watch growing up in WCW, nostalgia reasons. But Adrian's comment right there, ungrateful prick, that's exactly how he came off. Yeah, was it wrong that they cut his speech? They should have never even showed it. That's how I said it. They should have kept it on the DVD, the Goldberg DVD, and then you hear it at the end. That way he never would have worried about it. But Bret Hart, Bret Hart, just saw Bret come in there. Goldberg came off really bad, yeah, in that interview. And it's like, dude, how about, what? I'm just glad that WWE gave me an opportunity to be out there one more time on a big show against a young name, a big name, and talking about like, oh, I'm sorry I laughed. I just thought it would hurt more. It's Why would it hurt more? it's a chop, dude, and it's wrestling. Like, shut up, honestly. Your
Look
time
at
is
you.
done.
Look
Your
at
time
you turning
is
heel on Goldberg. This is awesome.
Hey man, it's like I'm listening to him and I'm like, just be grateful. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I get it, but it's poor Gage. Yeah, before he even could start, Gage. Goldberg said, "Oh, they tried to sign him to an NIL, and it was too much." It's like, Bill, shut up, shut up. And how about just putting some respect on Gunther? It's like, okay, you didn't have to say, "Oh, I thought it was going to hurt more." You could have said, "This is my, it was my gimmick." I like, oh, what are you gonna do? I didn't think anything of it when he laughed after the chop. It's Goldberg. Gunther going, "Oh shoot," but the way he came off was just so bad. But anyway, but yeah, so that's what I meant to bring up. So sorry, but anyway, we're at the 51-minute mark. Seth Rollins' injury threw everything off. His speech was never to be shown live. You're probably 100% right. Goldberg and Bret Hart should do a podcast together, complain about everything. Those two Bret Hart, I don't know if that's true, if that was made up, but Bret Hart saying he would cut it off before he even started. He's the ultimate hater. God bless him.
Best.
God bless him. But yes, I will go heel if I need to. I'm the best heel. Just hide it. I'm like that heel that's always pretends like, like Ric Flair. Let's be a tag team, and as soon as that we win, I hit you from behind. Yeah, that's my type of heel. But anywho, Josh, this was actually really good. Time went by pretty fast. Any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
I'm just gonna wrap it up. Gonna jump on. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna jump on a WWE 2K. I'm gonna start up my universe again. I'm gonna play a couple matches and I'm gonna make sure Liv Morgan's still my champion. I have the fake Mercedes Moné. She's been the champion for like 5,000 days. Like, she has never lost a match. So it's going strong. Mercedes Moné dominating the women's division in Josh Kimmel's universe.
There you go. Yeah. I just saw, who is this guy? The guy who does all there's a lot of them, but they do cause, right? The CW, whatever you go, the creative characters. And I saw Mariah May's up on there.
Blake Monroe.
Yeah, I saw she was up on there. And she looked good, so I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to download her. I'm going to have her. And I know Jordan Grace is about to show up, and that character they did was kind of eh. But again, I've been killing it with Kali. No one's been able to beat Kali. I've just been dominating, just chop 1, 2, 3. Everybody's tried to fight me. Just throw them to the side. My son's like, okay, and he almost got me. He was like, "Oh, who are you gonna be?" He goes, "I know someone who could beat you." And I was like, "All right, who is he?" He goes, "A giant killer." I was like, "Bring him." He picked Hogan, and I was like, "Watch, I'll just And he actually slammed me and almost got me. He hulked up and everything. I was like, he knows how to hulk up. I don't know how to hulk up. I never seen it before. Kali was going like this, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" I beat him. I did it.
I can't believe you use Hogan. So before we log off, just every time I buy WWE 2K, this goes on with football games too, like Madden, but I don't buy Madden anymore. I go into Hogan, I take all of his attributes, all of his stats, I put them all to 0. I never use them. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. I don't want him to show up in my universe mode. I don't want 0. That's been going on for a while now. I used to do it in football too, like players that like Gronk. Hate Gronk with a passion. 0 out all of his stats, never see him. Like,
thanks, Adrian. I appreciate that, man. I'm trying, bro. Oh man, but anyway, guys, appreciate everybody who's watching and tuning in. Make sure you guys, if you haven't yet, like and subscribe. LA Knight deserves better. LA Knight absolutely deserves better. His time will come. Jordan Grace, a better version of Goldberg. Ooh, my goodness. For next show, we'll get through it. I think we have an idea for the next couple shows, I think. So we're excited. So make sure if you're new to the show, like and subscribe, hit the notifications bell. We're usually live Saturdays, 5 p.m. Eastern time. That's Josh Kimmel. I'm Bobby Melendez. Like and subscribe, and have a good night.